Hello, everybody. We're here at Founders Council in London with Amway, and I'm here with Audra Davies, who's head of product development at Amway, and with Dr. Sam, who needs very little introduction, whose father founded Nutrilite, the world's largest vitamin and mineral brand, and Dr. Sam is our global brand ambassador for Nutrilite. Welcome to both of you. Audra, to you first. In 2014, Amway announced a gift to Stanford University. Can you quickly describe what WELL is?
Sure, Peter. WELL's a very exciting study for us to be investing in. In September of 2014, coinciding with Nutrilite's 80th anniversary, we provided an unrestricted gift to Stanford University to support a groundbreaking piece of research, the first large randomized study on wellness. And what this study is looking at is long-term wellness and healthy aging. It is a groundbreaking study. It's really the first of its kind, given the scope of the study, the length of the study, and the number of subjects in the study. So it's really solely focused on wellness and healthy aging.
Right. Audra, that sounds like it's good for the industry and for the everyday person, right?
Absolutely. You know, this study is so unique because it is looking at wellness. Most of the studies that have been done thus far really focus on disease and looking at reduction of disease endpoints. The focus of this study is looking at what keeps people well, not just what keeps people living longer, but helps them live a very healthy, long life. And that's really what we all want. So it's certainly very relevant to the everyday person who's striving to really live a life of optimal health.
Dr. Sam, in your own words, describe why WELL is important and has such long-term value.
Well, I'm very excited about this project, to say the least. It really goes back to the origins of our company. And some of my father's first thinking almost 100 years ago in 1915, when he began to postulate on the importance of a plant-based diet, and noticing that people who had a plant-based diet and had lots of exercise in their lives was healthier than those people who lived in the big cities with the modern-day diet. And he began to study the importance of a plant-based diet and how that impacted the health of people. And that project has been the forefront of all of our research and development all these many years. So here we are almost 100 years later, and it's still at the forefront of our thinking because we have major problems in the world today in terms of chronic disease. And I can give you just the United States as an example because we kind of lead the way in poor health and people who have chronic problems of one kind or another. Okay? So imagine in last year in this country, the chronic health care costs amounted to $3 trillion. That means $3 trillion were spent in the United States to control diseases, chronic diseases. And what we know today from research is that the best way to tackle chronic disease is to prevent it, okay? And that's what we've been involved in for 100 years. And yet still the problem has gotten to the extent that it has today. So a study like this, where we're studying huge segments of the populations in various countries to understand what their lifestyles are, what their eating habits are, is going to give us a much better fix as to what wellness is all about, so we can really get in there and design the products and to get people motivated and understanding why they have to take charge of their lives at a very early stage if you're going to prevent the type of problems that we see later on in life, okay? So the WELL project is huge, and it's going to have a huge impact on the world because healthcare costs, diseases that we face today that are chronic in nature are all over the world. And they're bankrupting nations from the United States to Europe, you name the country, and they're all fighting increasing healthcare costs. The average person knows they spend enormous amounts of money to tackle disease. The drug companies have made billions developing cures for all these chronic diseases. But the chronic diseases continue and still are costing this huge drain on the economies of different countries. So this project is going to really begin to focus on the understanding of what's going on at the individual level. And out of this will come new products and new ways to help convince people on the importance of taking charge of their lives at a very early stage. Chronic disease doesn't start when you're 50. It starts the day you're born by improper eating habits and improper exercise and thinking. So that's what the Well Project is all about, and it has tremendous implications to the future of health, not only in the United States, but on the planet.
This is huge. I mean, Dr. Sam, Audra, how do you define wellness? Does it mean different things to different people?
Wellness is very multidimensional. So when we think about wellness, we're talking about our emotional well-being, our spiritual well-being, environmental factors that influence our state of wellness, our lifestyle factors, our dietary intake. All of those aspects are key dimensions around wellness. And it's really important for us to understand the interaction between all of those different dimensions and ultimately contribute to controlling each of those dimensions so that we can achieve wellness and optimal health. And ultimately, when we do that, we can then lead a life of optimal health and really thrive as we age.
Yeah, and I would only add to that is that wellness is something that covers the whole spectrum of life. Most people know that they want to be healthy, but most people don't know that you got to take charge of your life to make that happen. That means taking all aspects, from eating to thinking to exercise, all those things come into play, and it's at the individual level where these changes take place. You don't have a magical answer for people. You've got to get people to take charge of their lives. That's what we're all about.
On that note, Audra, why did Amway see benefit in being part of Well?
There's tremendous benefit in supporting this type of groundbreaking research. Firstly, I think it's critically important that we have long-term studies on wellness. So many of the studies that we have utilized thus far are really short-term studies. They may include a few hundred people, and they may only go for 8 weeks or 12 weeks or maybe even 6 months. But really, when you're talking about wellness and the impact of some of these lifestyle and dietary factors on a lifetime of health, you really need to look at people long-term. And that's really one of the very powerful aspects of this study, is that we are evaluating and studying thousands of people in different parts of the world. We have cohorts in the United States, as well as Taiwan and China. This will enable us to have some very powerful comparisons of environmental factors, lifestyle factors, cultural factors on the influence on wellness. So it's a very powerful study in that regard. Amway is also very interested in this work because it will help us to further validate the importance of dietary gaps and ensuring that we're filling those dietary gaps appropriately. We'll be able to understand the associations between the quality of dietary intake, the importance of physical activity with individual states of wellness throughout a whole range of their lifespan, which I think is really powerful and will ultimately lead to some very interesting insights in what some of the key biomarkers are related to wellness. And that will provide us with new targets for new innovation and new products for Amway.
Right.
That's really key, and to be able to track individuals for the duration of their life. We're going to be tracking them for a long period of time, not just for a few months. These people will be, in effect, almost like citizen scientists. They'll be tracking their own health and fitness, and we'll be tracking them for the long term. So then when you introduce something new in the future, you'll know where they've been in the past, and you'll be able to track them in the future. And then we'll really be able to get a better idea of what wellness is all about for the benefit of people everywhere.
Dr. Sam and Audra, maybe a final word. How does this benefit my business? As a business person, how does this help my business?
Well, firstly, I think it's so exciting that Amway, through the support of the incredible efforts of our ABOs around the world, are able to invest in this type of groundbreaking research. This really validates Nutrilite's leadership position in the industry, and I think it provides incredible support for, helping people live better lives. That's what Amway's all about. And this type of research will contribute to telling that story in a very powerful way.
Yeah, and it's going to open up a huge population of people. My father, 100 years ago, recognized that every person on the planet would benefit by embracing our concepts of optimal health and eating right and exercising. This is going to bring evidence to that so people can more effectively understand the importance of taking charge of their lives from the perspective of their lifespan as early as possible. So they have the benefit to live long, active, vigorous lives and achieve their potential, have a lot of fun, and do the things that they want to do with their families and children in the future.
Well, this is a huge project.
Yeah.
Audra Davies, Dr. Sam, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.